Diakmetum to you, Macos whale. Chitalahawa, Smith, Echtels, Yelsk Alak, Spipets to mug, tests a elis tam to me. Sauk Schalchil tells Tella Litamaka.
Elatith, Jaskain Khan Telsqui, Talitzaquasta Elis.
Ace whale, Chimelum Tanok Telsqui, Talitzaquasta Elis.
Tatuanach Telsqui, Talitzaquasta Elis, Casta Sleutu.
You're looking for deer? If you've never seen a deer track, this is probably the general shape of a deer track.
Isala Quam Hills Yet Tella.
So deer have two hoofs on each foot. You're also going to see the dew claws. There's a set of hoofs they have in the back of the track. So in this case, the dew claws are here. The track is here.
Deites yes Chalchil tells Lis Diaktes Tetamoch Lisuch Lama Els Calams.
And they dig into the ground because they're pushing forward so the dirt would kick back out of the track. And that tells you the direction the deer is running in.
Like, where do they sleep? Just like on the ground in like a bush or something?
They usually find mossy areas, grassy areas, and make beds somewhere that the ground kind of hugs around them so that they stay warmer.
Tella Liya Quam Kasu Thayaslam Saltem As Salks.
So this time of year, a lot of times you'll see the deer will bite off the tops of fresh shoots of alder. A lot of times we'll have the tops nibbled off them, and you'll be able to see the fresh bite marks on the top of the bushes. So that's another sign that we watch for when we're hunting is where and what they've been eating.
Talite Selksels Tachaus Heid
This is what it would look like if the deer biting off the
Let's
tips of the bushes.
Hadtel Yalum Sauk Ich Hawa Lis Lecha Kask Stan Helbekes Yet Tella.
Type of fern we use in the longhouse. So
To
there's
all
another fern,
clad
the bracken fern.
Chak Alam
Actually eat those are the ones we eat in
Pataquam
the
Auquico
They call
Hitum
them
or
fiddleheads.
Clythel
These ones here
Schias.
are the type we use in ceremony in our longhouses in the wintertime.
Otslam Tetlk Tella Mamit is Qualex to Westessa Glach. Qualex Tetlk Tella Hot Orstam Tetlk Tella Sil Alwer to smelt. وياث وستيت تتلقتلا كوس تسواس ايلو يالمس سلامت تشت سياثتس وهمثتا الخيولس قستك ولو أول لتلوخ تقوى
Once you got the skin
ويت
cut, be
تتلق
careful
تلا
because that's where the bladder is. Okay, so if you put your hand in here, you can feel the bladder's empty on this one, so we don't got much to worry about. But if the bladder, sometimes the bladder is really full, you got to be very careful. So you take your hand and you just gently loosen up all the stuff around the inside of the pelvis, just with your hand. So you don't want to stick a knife in there, like the same reason, because the bladder's in there.
Yeah.
Then you push all of this into the inside of the deer. Like that. And then once you've pushed it in there, you reach in from this side and pull it through. Like that. And then you're going to go right up to the throat. You want to grab that, Tyra? So you're going to take this again. I'm going to bring this cut right up the middle of the
ويلق
throat to the bottom.
وتاس equal وياثا
When you get this, you want to have as little waste as possible. So what there is, on the edge of the chest, on each side of the square part here, there's a line of cartilage that goes up each side. So you go up one side or the other, but you don't go right down the middle of the chest because that's bone. But on the edge, there's a line of cartilage that you can follow. So I just removed the stomach and the intestine, and I did that so that we wouldn't have to pack out the liver and the heart while we were dragging. So that way there's one less thing to pack when we were coming out.
هلت
What we're gonna do,
تتلقتلا خلات أقلتس
we're gonna roll it right on its back, like that. So what this is, you have your diaphragm here. You cut one side of the diaphragm, like so. And then you cut the other side of the diaphragm. And you can see there's some tissue that holds the heart and liver into place, or the heart and the lungs into place. So you cut that tissue that holds that. Then what you do is you find the esophagus. Kind of loosen the esophagus from the neck all the way up as high as you can, and you cut it off up top.
And that's its esophagus.
And that's the esophagus, and this part underneath is the throat. And you can just use your hand to loosen it up as you go. Okay, come on this side. And you'll see it all comes out nice and clean.
Yeah.
This here, see, this is the smallest piece of guts that we wanted to drag out. We took out the stomach, the intestines, we took out the bladder. And the reason we left this in here is because this is edible. So you got the heart here. You can see the heart. You take the heart and you just cut all the valves off the top.
أول إقوتم تتسالى لخ
And that's,
سلامت
keep that and we eat it. And even if you don't enjoy heart,
خليكوس
take it and you give
تت
it to
أخوس
family or elders.
سيالوه
Your dad, for example,
تتسالى
and your papa loves this kind of
كستاس
stuff.
تليك
So we
آتو
never ever throw it away. We always try to use everything we can. We always try to use every piece of the deer and have as little waste as possible. Then the liver, there's just a tight, light piece of skin on top that holds it on. And you flip it over and there's going to be a valve on the bottom of the liver that attaches it. And then there's just thin skin all the way around. And it just comes right off.
هاكوي مك يعلم تلي تتلقتلا
is your liver. Just like I was saying earlier, you keep your blade facing up from the underside of the skin so that you don't cut the hair. So you start down here. You have to be really careful at this part because this big tendon in the back you can feel here, that's how we're going to hang the deer. So you don't want to cut this big tendon.
Hakwe kwa yath llatal.
Just like that. And you grab the skin and holding your knife kind of even with the skin instead of going towards the skin. You pull the skin away from the flesh.
Thakut tukwalo talitis liq.
And we're going to go straight into like up into the armpit area. And again, using your knife facing from the flesh outwards. So the other trick about this you guys should know is it's always good to have a sharp knife, because if your knife is dull, what you end up doing is you end up pushing your knife. There's that big tendon again coming up. So you see all these tiny little strings on the meat? See that side? So you got to try and get under that, because that's actually the beginning of this flesh down here. It starts out as a clear membrane. So if you start peeling right now, you're going to start going under that flesh. But if you get it away from the hide right away, you can see that thin layer. That's actually the beginning of keeping the meat separate from the hide. If you look carefully, you can see where the joint is right here. You can notice like the bone's skinny here, and then it gets fat. So right above where it starts getting thick, you make a slice all the way around the joint. And it doesn't feel like you're cutting anything. It feels like your knife's just rubbing against bone. What you're doing is you're removing all those tendons on the outside, and they're really strong, and that's what holds the joint together. But once you make that slice, you make an area for it to break loose. So what you do is it should just snap. See? You see that flat joint right there?
Yeah.
Iwest yes we call isitis lila
All you do is
is
you take the rope and you bend it on itself so the loose end goes behind, like that. So you got a loop like that with the rope behind it, and then that just wraps over your nail. Then you take the loose end and you do the same thing. Bend the rope behind it, and then it wraps over your nail. Bend it behind again and wrap it onto the nail. And that knot isn't going to move. Spread the legs open, put the hook on each side.
Hiqathulstu
Towards me.
tedlqtala litis ad
You want to get under that membrane, because that's the beginning of the peeling of the deer.
salt tukwalo ihmech.
That's really important that you can really recognize that part. That thin membrane there. Because that's the part you want to stay against the skin. I mean against the flesh. Now if you look carefully, you can see there's joints on the tail as well. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your knife and you're going to just gently push against one of those joints, and it'll just come right off. And you put your knuckles in towards the deer and pull down, just like that. And you can see, because we kept that thin layer off, that it's going to keep all the meat off the hide as well. Had we gone under that layer, we'd be trying to cut the meat off the hide once we get down to this point. You see that? So our elders used to say that this is the proper way to skin deer. Your hide should be clean like this. This is the proper way to skin a deer. Grab that, roll it up, put your knuckles against the deer, and then just push downwards. Beautiful. So that's what you want to see when you skin a deer. So we'll be able to peel this a little bit more. Then when we get to the neck, you're going to notice it gets really hard to peel. And it's almost like it's sticking to the neck. And that's because there's less fat on the neck. There it is. So usually we take our knife, and the same thing we were doing before, you cut the white part. Where the head moves right there, you move the head, you can see there's a joint right there. You can actually see where it moves.
Feet at neck, this highest.
Hold that, Cyrus. Grab the skin, yep.
Halim te quest out
This is how you do a deer.